All right, the day has arrived. Boise Twilight Crit. I got my sticker on my bike. Just a reminder to go fast, but don't die. That's the goal today. I didn't realize this, but they actually call up a handful of riders to the start line, and they're recognizing people that have done the race a lot, or maybe they're serving in the cycling community locally, but then there's also this.
All right, we want to welcome one more Bob's Racer up to the line. Every year, when there's new racers show up, one of those racers earns an award amongst the rest of the teams. That award is the Sandbagger Award. And so there is a racer who has been,
They better not be talking
his
about
own teammates are telling him he shouldn't be in this race. He should be in the category 3 race. But we want to put a little arrow on his back so everyone can see him. Taylor Dame to the line, Sandbagger 2021.
Watch out for you guys! So the worst part about this is my parents, this is the first time they came to watch me race, and they were right there. So publicly humiliated right before the whistle, not the best way to start.
All right, if you want to see a video by Taylor, he's on Spoke Show online, Spoke Show on your YouTube channel.
Ready?
And they're off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Boise Twilight Criterium.
All right, so yeah, publicly humiliated in front of my parents as a grown 34-year-old man, but whatever, they shouted out the channel, so I can't hold it against them. So I do have some teammates in the race. You got Micah, he's just up the road right there. Micah, he's been doing this race for a lot of years, and he always takes a flyer on the first lap just to have those announcers call out Bob's bikes to give the shop some recognition. And so he takes this flyer here on the first lap. The only problem with that is right there. Tommy and Kevin behind me, both these guys are Plan 7 riders, came in from Utah. I've done a couple races with them in Utah, knew that they were strong riders. Anyways, Tommy right there, he goes up to bridge up to Micah, and this is the first lap. And at this point, people see that gap opening, and I was on the front, and so I take the blame here. I think people thought, oh, Taylor's blocking for Micah, and so a lot of people come through. Greg flies up, and everybody kind of bridges up to Micah. About a half lap later, everything kind of settles down for the most part. That's Micah on my left. The only issue is Tommy didn't slow down. He's still in the front hammering. He has a bit of a gap right here, and he just keeps riding. About a lap later, so you got this bridge attempt. You got Noah, this bird rider, and then Cade in front of him. They try to bridge up to Tommy. So when I saw that, I didn't quite have the jump on it to join them, but figured maybe Tommy, these guys will ride Tommy's wheel. Tommy won't be as stoked to pull, and this thing will all come back together.
Hey, Gray, you gotta be ready to pull that back when the time comes.
This is my first time doing the Twilight Criterium here in Boise. But in talking to other people and teammates, it seemed that everybody thought that this would come down to a field sprint. But with that move up the road, I just wanted to motivate Wally to potentially go and chase that back. Our plan going into the race was to protect me as the sprinter at the end. But like I said, with that move, I figured Wally could probably chase that down. Super strong. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he did a solo break and stayed away in our local crit. And then also Cade, who just went up on the bridge, did the same thing a few weeks before that. The only problem is right here, I didn't realize that Cade's right there on the right. When I first saw him, I thought he was a lapped rider, and then I realized it was Cade and that his bridge attempt didn't quite work out. Not sure exactly what happened. And so that's when it really hit me that the move up the road with Tommy with Plan 7 was going to be threatening.
It's almost 20 seconds to the leader.
When I heard the time gap, I definitely started getting a little bit antsy. And then about a half a lap later, we come around and I notice Kevin, Tommy's teammates, on the front.
Hey, this guy's blocking. This guy's teaming up the road. Let's go.
So Kevin knows what he's doing. He knows that if he can get on the front, slow it down a bit, then that gap up to his teammate Tommy just gets bigger and bigger. So I wanted to call it out, let everybody know in the field that we can't let him be on the front. Luckily, Cortino here in front of me in the Team Rail kit, he took a big pull here and got the pace up and going again. After Cortino took that great pull, Chris jumped on the front and he took a pole as well. I mean, we're keeping the pace high. We're 28, 27 miles an hour. And so I looked at it and said, hey, this is fine. We'll reel back Tommy in a couple laps, and it'll come down to that bunch sprint at the end.
Let's go, Micah!
Because we were the most represented team in the field, we had 4 guys at this race. It was going to be up to us to make sure that we brought this back. So Micah gets on the front after a few of these other guys had pulled, and he puts in a big dig here. Same thing. I mean, as long as we can keep this pace high, we can bring Tommy back. 14 seconds isn't a whole lot. We're still not even halfway through the race here. I should have really started considering the field sprint at this point. I'd been on the front a lot. That's what the announcer was talking about. I would get on the front, drive the pace a bit, and then turn around looking for teammates to come through. In reality, I should have just been fifth wheel and conserved my energy till the end.
Dan, I don't know why the Von Bicycle guy not all working together.
Yeah, me too!
Why the biggest, strongest team can't put a group together.
I was thinking the same thing as the announcer, and apparently Wally and Micah were as well. Just like clockwork, they come to the front and start driving the pace.
A few moments later.
This makes me sick, but I gotta do it. So the best I can tell, this guy right here under Kevin's armpit, he was leaning into the corner, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. He was just upright on his bike. And so in order for him not to fall, he just leans way too far the other way and takes like 3 or 4 guys with him. That guy right there, literally 5 minutes before this, he was telling me, dude, this field is so sketchy. And it looks like he took the hardest fall. Hope he's all right. Hope everybody's all right. But that was a gnarly wreck.
Go, Chris, come on.
I hate to say it because it was a super fun race, but the one thing that I wish that would have happened is taking some of these lapped riders off of the course, or at least giving them better instructions on what to do, staying completely to the outside, because it was a little bit disruptive. So if you haven't guessed already, Tommy from Plan 7 ends up staying away. It's a 45-minute crit. He makes his move in the 5th minute and stays away to a 40-minute solo to win the race. So anyways, this is going into the last lap, and so racing for second at this point, not super stoked about it, but definitely wanted to be on this guy's wheel. He put in a little effort. I don't know if he was trying to break away or go for a preem, or I don't know, but anyways, jumped on his wheel, passed him. My strategy, I watched a bunch of videos from like Legion from the race 2 years ago, and I thought my best bet would be to be second wheel going into turn 3, which is the next turn. So coming out of turn 2, Cade's in front of me. I figure, okay, maybe I'll follow Cade. He's a strong wheel. And then Chris comes right here, and I kind of get in between these guys, and I didn't like that. So I kind of elbowed my way through a little bit, made sure that I had a clear line at corner 3, and I'm first wheel. So not completely ideal, but then all of a sudden Garrett comes through, and I jump on his wheel. It was heaven sent. I was so stoked. Got second wheel going into turn 3 just like I wanted, and come out of turn 4 right here. Got Garrett in front of me, and then Lance Wong behind me. We come out of this corner. We all light up our sprints about the same time. I stay seated for the first few pedal strokes and then stand up. And I wish I would have stayed behind Garrett a little bit longer. And I just keep looking back and see Lance working his way up. And Lance pipped both Garrett and I at the line. This kid's 16 years old, man. And the funniest thing about it, I see a ride that he posted on Strava a few days ago, literally like 2 days before the race. He's like, oh man, just recovering from mono. So in the race, I'm like, bro, how'd you get mono? He's like, just living a fun lifestyle. So he's recovering from mono and just pips us both at the line for second. I honestly thought I got fourth because Garrett, I didn't think I got around him. And a few minutes later, they called for podium. A friend of mine sent me a video of the final sprint, and I zoomed in on the line, and I probably beat Garrett by maybe 2 inches. It was crazy close. One really cool thing at this race is they actually give out prize money, and I've always wanted to receive one of those giant checks. That wasn't the case, but I did Photoshop this in order to kind of be able to live that moment today. Finally, I'll say that the sandbagging reputation can now be lifted because I do plan on upgrading to Category 3. I have a few clips from the pro race that I'm going to throw in as well here.